What's that building? Susie fell into the well? Again? Oh, building, you're so funny. Every building has its own story, the way they were constructed or why. Think, for example, of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, or the Taipei 101, which is earthquake resistant. But did you know a story can have a story? We all know what a story is. Books tell stories, and most films tell stories too. I said most films. It is a little bit odd then that the word story can also be used for floor. Why do we say that? Story is derived from the ancient Greek historia, later adapted into Latin, and meant a narrative of past events. It then evolved into Old Norman French histoire, going into Middle English story. However, something else happened to the word historia in England. You see, in Anglo-Latin, Latin spoken in English, historia became to mean a row of painted windows or sculptures. We can find evidence of this in medieval Latin history books. From the year 1398 comes the phrase una historia octo fenestrarum. This means a row, story, of 8 windows. Later on in Middle English, this phrase historia was abbreviated to story, as in the Chronicle by Sir Robert of Gloucester in mid-13th century. Hij begonnen her highest toen streng te vast about her castles and stories. Speaks of fortifying the town's strength as well as the castle walls and adding floors, stories. To give a real-life example, look at stained glass windows in churches. They are found in rows, often high above eye level, and depict biblical stories of Jesus Christ and his apostles. The name of such windows are clear stories. In modern English, the words story and floor mean the same thing, but colloquially they are used differently. Generally speaking, we use the term story when we refer to the general height of a building. But when it comes to one specific story, we say floor. For example, Burj Khalifa is 163 stories high, and my room is on the 45th floor. Now here's one for you. If I am 1 story high, am I on the 1st or the 2nd floor? This 1st floor, 2nd floor issue largely depends on where you live. You see, in Europe, we commonly refer to the ground level as the ground floor. This means that 1 story high is considered the 1st floor. But in America, the ground level is more commonly referred to as the 1st floor, making the 1st story the 2nd floor. I know it sounds confusing. However, this is a bit of a generalization. There are malls and apartments out there that favor the British or American system, regardless of the country they're built in. This has to do that they're influenced by either the builder's owners or the architect. That means that occasionally the buttons inside a lift can become rather confusing.
Looks like a Christmas tree.
As a little fun fact, some lifts don't have the number 13 in them because of the superstition surrounding that number. Similarly, in Chinese communities, a lift may not have the number 4, or 14, or 24, etc. This has to do with the phonetic similarity to the Chinese word for death. Thus, every story, or omission of stories, has its own story. For now, I say thank you, and remember, mind your language. However, this is a bit of a generalization. Yeah, like I'm a drunkard.